Hi everyone, Chris here from IELTS Advantage with another success story. So today we're interviewing Syed, who got his scores that he needed, and he's going to share his success with you guys. So Syed, can you start off just by introducing yourself to everyone?
Yeah, hi guys. My name is Syed. I am from Bangalore. So I'm into IT industry. I work with the software company in the Silicon Valley of India. It's been 6 years since I've been working. That's pretty much about myself.
And can you share just your IELTS journey a little bit with people? Like how many times did you do the test? What scores did you get?
Yeah, so I came across IELTS when I had intention of going to rather applying for Canadian immigration. So in order to improve my score, I had to write IELTS General. So so when I started off exploring about IELTS, the first time I wrote it, I I just went through a couple of YouTube videos online and I went ahead and wrote it. It was a disaster for various reasons. So my scores were horrible. The only thing I scored well was in listening. I got 8.5, and everything else was bad. I just don't even want to mention the scores.
Okay.
So so that was the first time, and then the second time I wrote it with my wife. So we really prepared hard, and we joined I think so my wife went for some course here locally, and she put her efforts, and I was trying to, I tried to be what should I say, over smart in a way, which I regretted later. So I wrote it. I got good scores, but I failed by point 0.5 again. So there is a criteria which I'm supposed to meet, but which I was not able to meet in listening. And finally, again, the third time, or rather, I think the third time was another time which I wrote, and which I did not actually prepare well. I thought at fourth time's the charm, and I decided I'm going to sit and look through the content on internet. And trust me, there is so much information on internet. You
Hmm.
tend to get confused. You try following one person, and another person comes and totally nullifies. He says, "Don't follow that and follow me." So you totally get confused of what's happening. So you need to make a stern decision. Okay, I'm not going to follow anyone but this guy.
Hmm.
So that is when I decided. That is when I came across Chris, your site, IELTS Advantage, right? So I went through your website, I went through your content, and what I really liked about your kind of website was you were not asking to come and join the course, or neither were you trying to market it. So that is the first thing I liked, and there is a ton of content which you have written very well. That's the reason we are talking today, because I really wanted to thank you, because the content which you had put on the website really helped me.
You're
I
welcome.
Yep. So the most important thing is what I really struggled with was with writing. And writing and listening. These are the two places I really struggled, because my scores actually varied. First time I wrote by listening was 8.5. Second time I wrote it was 7.5. Then third time I wrote it was 7.5. And the fourth time when I wrote it was 8. And so was my writing. Initially when I wrote it was 6.5. Writing was 6.5. Then my, what should I say? Second time again it was I think so 7.5. Third time it was 6.5, and finally it was 7. So I did not know what was the thing which I was doing wrong. Certain
Hmm.
times I was doing it right, certain times I was failing to do it. So I did not know what was that. So first things first is you went through what IELTS looks at, how IELTS evaluates. That's the first thing I looked into. Then you very rightly pointed out what needs to be done and what should be avoided.
Hmm.
This was the two very clear points, and you just did not leave it at that place. You continued further and explained how to form sentences. That was really simplified. I was so happy when I saw you explaining the sentences. That was little. That was very simple for any person. Any sensible person would understand that.
Any
That is the
sensible
simplicity.
person. I'm glad you
Yeah,
added the sensible.
yeah,
Not every
yeah,
person did.
yeah. Any sensible person would makes understand what you're talking about. He wouldn't. Best part is once you start following you wouldn't want to go anywhere else. And even if you go anywhere else and start watching, they'll say, "No, I think I'm fine with this guy. I'm going to continue watching him."
Mhm.
And to be very honest, I went through your content. I was very happy. I started off with writing. Specifically, I needed help with writing, so I looked into your writing videos, your writing content, how you have explained the different ways, different formats, and you have not left anything. You have followed, you have gone through each and every possible type of question. That is, you talk about it and it is there. I think so, true or false, and that is if for against and for kind of thing. I'm actually forgetting the kind of questions are in IELTS writing. Anyways, whatever was that, whatever it was, these people had asked, it was there. And different type of topics. You have taken a sample, explain how it's written. Lovely. It was beautiful. That is one. And next thing, after I saw this, I was so impressed with your writing. I thought, this guy is good. So let me look into his listening as well. So I went into your listening. I looked into your listening. Then I went into your reading. I went into your reading. Then speaking. This is how I covered everything. So, in a nutshell, what I can say is I have had my, what should I say, bittersweet experiences writing IELTS. So, I'm happy that I found you at the right time. I would say fourth time I was the time I actually got the right score. But when I got my scores, but in spite of getting the scores, I knew I have done well. But the point is, even if you ask me to write again, I am confident what I am supposed to write. It's not like I'm going to blindly go and follow anybody else and just start writing whatever I want to.
Mhm.
So, okay, just to add, I just want to add something beyond what I wrote. All right. So, my sister-in-law, she is going for her master's Canada again. So she started preparing for IELTS. So I referred your website. She got 8.5, 8, and 8.5, I think.
Wow. Tell her well done from me. Tell her congratulations.
Yeah, yeah. So I just wanted to mention that as well. So there are a lot of people who, whenever anyone asks me for IELTS, I recommend your website, because one thing is, first things first, you're not marketing. You're being very genuine, and I don't even have to speak. I don't even have to tell all this. You can just go to your website and you can see all the content there.
Yeah.
So that's beautifully done. That's beautifully done.
Let me just pick up on some of the points just to help people
Hmm.
as there's people going through the exact same experience as you. Just to go back to the start, you said when you first did the test, you just looked at a few YouTube videos. That's very common when people do the test the first time, because they think it's an English test. I'm pretty good at English. I'll look up a few YouTube videos or look up a few tips, and then they do the test, and it's, as you said, a complete disaster. And then the next phase is they look into it in a little bit more detail, and there's all these different sources, all this confusing and conflicting information. And often people find that their results actually go down, and they put all of this effort in, but their results actually go down because they're so confused about what to do, and they're wasting all of their time. And often people give up. And what you did was just follow one source, which is exactly what you should be doing. And it doesn't have to be me. There are many, many other IELTS websites and teachers out there. One of the most important things is just to follow one source, because A, you're not wasting time, but B, you're not going to be totally confused, and your results are not going to, fluctuate up and down, like with you. And also what you said about when you looked at my content, where I show you this is what the examiners are looking for and this is how to give it to them. That's really important, that anyone watching this, that's the number one thing, especially for writing. Find out what the examiners are actually looking for. Most websites are not giving you that. They're giving you the opposite of what they're actually looking for. Um, and then understand how to give it to them and give it to them. And then your final point was make things simple, simplify everything. The answer to most people's questions or most people's problems is not to make it more complicated. It's to simplify things. And
Absolutely.
you work in software. The best software is the simplest software. It's the most intuitive software. It's the easiest to use. It's not the most complicated. Maybe complicated behind the scenes to make it to make it simple, but no, but it's easy to use. So you made some great points there. And if someone was struggling with writing like you were, I know you did the test quite a long time ago, so you might not remember everything. But is there any advice that you would give to students who are struggling with writing or listening?
Yeah, I would ask them to go to Chris's website, go get exactly do what he says, because I'm not trying to flatter you, but I'm being very honest. I was very confused. Even
Mhm.
though at one point of time I got a 7.5 in writing, and the next time I wrote, it went down to 6.5. I did not know what is that which I'm
Sure.
doing wrong.
Because your
So
writing is a reflection of your thinking. If your thinking
yeah,
is confused, your writing will be confused. If you've no idea how to even attempt the answer because you're so confused, then your writing will reflect that. So it's a very, very common problem.
yeah. So see, at times, I've come from a very strong English background, but still, what I like you said, IELTS is not just any English exam. So there is a format which they expect,
Hmm.
and even if you are excellent in English, and if you don't follow that format, you will not get the scores you want.
Sure.
So you'll have to follow what they are asking for and give them basically what they need in that
Hmm.
specific format.
Excellent.
So I went to your website. I looked through the format. I understood what needs to be done. I practiced. Okay, advice to guys who are struggling. So I went to your website. Look under first things you need to choose. A tutor, whoever you're comfortable with. Number one, I recommend Chris. Next is you follow, understand the format, how to write it, whatever it is. In terms of listening, you need to understand. You need to understand what he's trying to say. Practice, practice, practice. Then same thing goes with writing. You need to understand the writing format, what needs to be done, different types of questions. You need to understand the questions, then you need to understand the kind of format which you need to answer it with. Then obviously fill up that format with the introduction, the supporting paragraphs, and the conclusions,
Hmm.
whatever it needs to be done. So that is one. And besides that, I practiced a lot. I practiced a lot. So I just pulled up random topics from different books from online, and I just looked into. I used to look into your website. I used to always look in through your page so many times in the nights whenever I used to come back from office. When I used to get time, that was so helpful.
I'm
That's so
glad
helpful.
somebody
And
appreciates it.
yeah, so Chris, you will not believe when I was actually writing the exam, I could actually imagine your format in my head when I was writing the exam.
Excellent.
So it made my life so much easier, even though I was rushing, so I didn't have time. So initially, I started off with the letter. That was I wrote it well. I enjoyed writing. Then next part was the essay. So I started writing it. So at one point of time, I realized I have a short of time. So I started accelerating, but I was at any point I didn't feel like I was lost. Many times it has happened that when I start writing, I used to get confused. Oh, what am I supposed to write now? Oh God, I'm not remembering. What should I write? Oh, time is running out. And it's like a ticking time bomb, and you are like, wow, what should I do? You get told it's totally chaotic, and everything is going kaboom in your head.
Hmm.
So nothing of that sort. I was so relaxed, even though time was ticking. I was able to finish it on time, even though there were like 2 3 minutes, and I had to put my pen down, and maybe that guy pulled up the paper. But I was so relaxed. It was
That's
so
good.
good.
I
I
think it's the
enjoyed my.
importance of having a strategy, because the strategy itself doesn't get you the score that you need. There's no magic structure or strategy, But what the strategy does is it removes all of that confusion, and you can go into the test with a very laser focus and do exactly what you're supposed to do and get everything
Yeah.
done and finished on time. So thank you
Yeah.
so much, Syed, for sharing your success story with
No
everyone. And I
problem.
wish you the best of luck in the future. And I hope that you end up in the real Silicon Valley someday.
Sure, Chris. Will do, Chris. Yeah, I really wanted to. This video was long overdue. I really wanted to. I was so happy after going through the exam, and after I got my results, I was like, I really need to do something for this guy. At least say what I wanted to say. That's it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much, Syed.
You're awesome, Chris. Do what you're doing the best. Maybe
Thank you.
help many
Thank
more
you so
people.
much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Syed. And have a great weekend. And thank you for helping me.
Sure, Chris.
All right, great.
Bye now.
Bye bye.